Good morning, Facebook. We'll be going live here in just a moment on the radio. So just wanted to go ahead and get started, give you a chance to get logged on this morning before the show actually gets started. So we'll be back in just a few moments.
Back up there, and I started in the weight room and watch the workout in the weight room. And you can pick up, you can almost pick up the whole weight room. I wanted to take it, and I run that 18 back. biggest mistake we ever made.
The Martin Houston Show with national championship winning fullback Martin Houston, giving you 1 hour of intense, hard-hitting analysis from an insider's perspective. It's time for the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and
Martin on 3, 2, 1.
Good morning. Welcome into the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9 on your radio dial, the Martin Houston Show fan page on Facebook. It is a beautiful Monday morning, and we are live and local. Glad you have decided to make us a part of your morning routine. Remember that this is a day that the Lord has made, so let's rejoice and be glad in it. Take some time today to notice someone, love someone, serve someone, be the difference you want to see in the world today. We got a great show lined up for you. We have the good, the bad, the ugly. We want to talk about players of the game, key moments in the game, and any other outliers you would like to cover. The phone lines are open, 205-342-9904, 205-342-9904. The Taco Casa hotline open for business. Taco Casa, quality, taste, value under the biggest cactus in town. Doing it the right way every day since the 70s, 40 plus years of being there and doing what's supposed to be done. And they want to wish you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. That's Taco Casa. Visit them for lunch and or dinner. Drive through, dine in, and carry out. Taco Casa, tacocasa.com. Well, like I said, we got a great show lined up for you. So those phone lines are open. Of course, if you're listening and tuning in, viewing from Facebook Live, then you can also give us your comments there, and we'll work those in to the program. Want to thank all of those who faithfully tune in on Facebook Live on Friday. Had some technical difficulties on Friday from the on-air show, but we're back and we want you involved as well. Let's break down this LSU game. Like I said, a lot of good, some bad, but not necessarily on Alabama's part. And was there any ugly? There was one moment that I thought was ugly that ended up not being as ugly as I thought once it was explained what happened. But it brought up another question of how ugly can social media be if we're not careful. Saw a lot of quotes and comments about the no replay. Social media was at it. Now, I will never take up for the SEC officials. Well, I shouldn't say never. I will not take up for the SEC officials on a consistent basis. But did that one play on Alabama show you the dangers, the perils, whatever you want to call it, of social media? So that part of the conversation can be had this morning as well. Nick Saban traveled down with the team to Baton Rouge, and it was good to see Coach back on the sideline after a brief hiatus on the previous Saturday, but also missing, numerous coaches 3 on defense, 1 on offense from Saturday's game. Did the replacements make a difference? Did Stoops and Strong make a difference? Or was Golding showing his ability to coach with or without those guys? So love to get your thoughts. Was 17 points too many? Was 55 points enough? Should we could we have had more? And should we have shut the LSU Tigers down? Oh, yeah. And we also have Arkansas this week. Kind of seems like a dud to talk about, but we'll talk about that as well. Probably won't get much of that conversation going today. Let's go ahead. Good morning, Joe. How you doing, sir?
I'm doing great today, Martin. Happy to be here to start off a new week.
Yeah, absolutely. Great week. Alabama coming off of the single biggest spanking I know in our lifetime, almost 100 years since Alabama did what they did to LSU, and they did it in the first half. Was that as good an offensive performance as you've ever seen in the first half? As complete, you may have seen more points, but as complete a dominance in every aspect on offense as you've ever seen?
Absolutely. They opened up the game with, 1, 2, 3, 4, 5 touchdowns in a row, 5 touchdowns on 5 drives, I believe.
Yeah.
So, you can't ask for better execution coming out on the road in a game that you really want to make a statement. 5 offensive touchdowns in 5 possessions is a pretty bold statement, pretty big statement.
Yeah, 6 out of 7 drives ended in touchdowns. 1 field goal. It was good to see that field goal. You almost kind of happy we didn't score with the way we were scoring, Joe, because it had been a while since we had to see our field goal kicker kick a field goal. Will Reichert. But when you add Will Reichert into the mix, and the fact that he was perfect in field goal on a field goal attempt, we scored on all 7 drives, 6 touchdowns. And this stat line is the most amazing thing I think I've ever heard. I mean, if someone has heard something more amazing when you talk about complete offenses, I'm not saying somebody hadn't had more yards. I'm not saying someone hasn't had, haven't had, more points, etc. But we had a 300-yard quarterback, 200-yard receiver, 100-yard a rusher, and didn't they all 3 have 3 touchdowns? I mean, didn't both of them have 3 touchdowns? Or all 3 of them would have had 3 touchdowns, I guess, right? So
yes, Najee had 3, Mac had 4, and Devontae had 3.
Yeah. So have you ever seen? And then you go, but then the tight end had 4 catches for 68 yards. I mean, it was as dominant and complete a performance, I think, as I've ever seen in a football game. So we'll break that down and talk about that a little bit more from the defensive side of the ball. A lot of good things. I know that you may be sitting out there going, yeah, but we look bad, and my son gets so mad at me because I just get so upset, Joe, on the first drive, and I go ahead and get it over with because it's like, come on. But let me tell you, let me explain what's happening to Alabama, and we have to figure this out before we get to Florida in the college football playoffs. We have got to figure this out because where we've been able to bend but don't break on those early drives against Kentucky and the likes of Kentucky and LSU and some of these teams, we may not be able to bend but not break when it comes to better competition. But what's happening is the teams are doing a great job scripting their plays based on which team you play and how an offensive coordinator does it, Joe. Some script the first 15 plays, some script the first 25 plays. and some scripts somewhere in between. But most of them have at least 15 plays, what they call scripted plays. And the whole purpose of that is to try to get a feel for the rest of the game and to see how you're going to line up to certain formations, how you're going to react to certain plays so that they can build the rest of their game plan. Well, right now, drive number one, teams seem to be doing a better job of scripting offensive plays against us than we do preparing for what they're going to script. Would you agree with that? Because it's the first one or two drives of the last couple of games that our defense has seemed to struggle. But when you look at post this third, fourth drive on, there's been virtually no success in the last 3 or 4 games.
Yeah, certainly. And what I find funny is while that first drive or second drive is going on, you monitor your social media and it's, fire Pete Golding. It's going to be a long day. Alabama defense is no good. And then after, like you said, the second or so, third drive, once they start settling in, that everything gets under control.
Yeah, let me give you what I say. I said, they're killing us. And see me and my son will go, Dad, they haven't scored yet. I said, I know, but they're killing us like that. And of course, I don't put anything out on social media at that point because I understand it's just frustrating. And it's because of Alabama's standard. It's not because we're necessarily playing bad. I heard someone ask a question regarding the Auburn Tigers about should you have expectations or should you accept? You know what I mean? Like, should you accept that that's the way it is, or should you continue to express those expectations? And I'm going to say continue to express those expectations, but keep them in check and understand what's happening. I probably do that every game. The first drive, I'm like nuts, and then the rest of the game, I'm fine. Pete Golding and staff did a good job. Was it Stoops and Strong that helped, or was it just the fact that after we got through the scripted plays, they settled down? The phone lines are open. We have Pat and Robert on the line. We'll get back to them in just a moment when we come back from break. So, guys, stay tuned. Remember, we're taking good, bad, and ugly. We're talking about key moments of the game. I mean, what about that fourth down? Did the guy that we talked a lot about in the summer and fall camp, is he finally figuring out the college game? Is Will Anderson becoming the man? Has Christian Harris distinguished himself as the better of the two middle linebackers? Is he playing with more instincts than Dylan Moses? Is Dylan Moses just kind of being a good leader out there on the field, but not making a lot of plays? What's going on with that? All of that is up for discussion, and we're discussing it right here on your home for Alabama Sports Tide 100.9. Remember, as we go to break here, remember to support the great folks over at Alabama One. Alabama One, wishing you a very Merry Christmas and a Happy New Year. This time of the year can be difficult for so many. And so many can get themselves into trouble. But if you're looking to make the right choice, the right decision when it comes to a mortgage or to a refi or to a personal loan, Alabama One will sit down with you, talk with you, and make sure that they help you get in the best financial situation. That's Alabama One. Alabama1.org is where you can find them. Remember, Alabama One together.
today. Visit their website at DixieBatterySupply.com or stop by their locations at 3120 McFarland Boulevard in Northport and their new location next to Amtrak on Greensboro Avenue.
Town Square Media Tuscaloosa and the Chamber of Commerce of West Alabama urge you to spend your money right here in West Alabama.
I'm Susan Rue, owner of Rhubards Real Living in downtown Northport. We invite you this Christmas season to shop our downtown and support us by shopping local. At Rhubards, we've got a huge selection of Ronaldo bracelets in stock for that special someone in your life. You're going to love their inspirational meaning, and you'll also love our free gift wrap.
Shop local, eat local, drink local this Christmas season from Town Square Media Tuscaloosa and the Chamber of Commerce of West Alabama.
For full-service auto and truck repair, take it to Norris Automotive. The factory-trained technicians at Norris Automotive can handle all major and minor repairs, including air conditioners and heaters, computer diagnostics, front-end alignment, electrical and computer systems, brake service, alternators, starters, water pumps, and engine rebuilding. Norris Automotive also offers fleet service and inspections. Trust the pros at Norris Automotive for your auto and truck repair. Norris Automotive, 919 31st Street, just off 10th Avenue.
Tuscaloosa Tire and Service, they've got the big brands you know and trust. Goodyear, Firestone, Bridgestone, Cooper, and they can finance for you as well. When you need routine maintenance and alignment, a tune-up, whatever it is, belts, hoses, just basic stuff, or when you don't know what's wrong with your car, truck, or SUV, make it Tuscaloosa Tire and Service. They're dependable, they're trustworthy. That's why they've lasted for over 36 years. Skyland Boulevard, McFarland Boulevard East in Northport on Lurleen Wallace Boulevard. Check out the website, TuscaloosaTireandService.com.
Tide 100.9 Tuscaloosa weather.
Breezy and colder today with a good supply of sunshine, the high 52. For tonight, we go below freezing, clear with the low at 30. Tomorrow and Wednesday, sunny both days with a warming trend. The high tomorrow 56, Wednesday's high at 62. I'm James Spain of the ABC 3340 Weather Center on Tide 100.9.
Scott Smith and Sophomart Design, doing business for 17 plus years, specializing in graphic design services, commercial printing, promotional products, advertising specialties, and so much more. Basically, any and everything you would need to advertise, promote, and grow your business. Through strong partnerships, strong customer service, and creative ideas, they'll help you market and grow your business. Give Scott a call at 205-292-4680 or email scottis@comcast.net and visit them online at southmarkdesign.com.
Interact with the Martin Houston Show by calling us at 205-342-9904 or tuning into the Martin Houston Show on Facebook.
Martin, you're on 3, 2, 1.
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. It is Christmas time and the Christmas season. And on behalf of the Martin Houston Show, I want to remind you exactly what the Christmas season means to me. It is a celebration of the birth of my Lord and Savior, Jesus Christ. And so I want to remind you that love prompted God to give and motivated Jesus to give. So why don't you follow that example and give throughout this Christmas season? Let love motivate you to give to others of your time, your talent, and your resources. Chuck Hunt saying Devontae Smith, Christian Harris, and Dylan Moses showed out in their home state of Louisiana. I would add Chris Allen to that. Curtis Moore saying that as well. Definitely a big-time game for those guys. But an interesting conversation I want to get to eventually this morning is Devontae Smith. Is the Heisman for the best player or the best player in the quarterback position? Has Devontae Smith clearly set himself apart in the discussion of being the best receiver to play at the capstone? You know, when he broke the SEC record, I caught myself even saying, well, is it because he came back for a fourth year? Maybe not. But he's one touchdown from tying the single season record for the Alabama Crimson Tide. He's sitting at 15 and probably could have tied that record and exceeded that record on Saturday night if he had been needed. But more importantly than that is the fact that the game plan last Saturday according to Coach O, was to double team him all night, and he only had 230 yards. So, is the Heisman a joke if he's not in it? Typically New York, but if he's not a part of the finalists, I think he's probably going to be number 4, which may hurt Mac Jones in winning the award. Let's get to Pat. Pat, you're in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, man?
Morning. Isn't LSU supposed to have the number 1 cornerback in the nation?
They do.
I mean, on paper.
No.
Remember when you was playing in 1992? They were supposed to have the fastest defensive team in the country on paper.
Well, hey,
I'm talking about Miami.
Yeah, and they did. They did have the fastest. They were fast. I'm not gonna. Hey, listen, Pat. I'm not gonna downgrade Stingley. I'm gonna upgrade Devontae Smith. Stingley is one of the best DBs in the country, and if he was draft eligible and healthy, he would probably be one of the first DBs off the board. So I'm gonna say that it wasn't that he wasn't good. I'm just saying that's how good Devontae Smith is. And let me get and I will say a lot of times the TVs, the national they don't always do a good job of showing stuff. But when they showed you the route design, when you hear people say route trees and things like that, what Brad and Gary did with showing how our switch routes and our mesh routes and all of those things that were getting Devontae open, that is Sark and Wiggins and this team. They're designing routes that if you're not really, really good, we're gonna get guys wide open consistently. One quick thing, Pat. The touchdown that Devontae ran that I think it was his second one where what's his name lost it. That actually was a pick. If you go back and look at the play, that was actually looked like it was more of a pick route to get Mechie open, who was open as well. Because when you watch the route, when they switch over, watch Devontae almost put his shoulder in the DB that was covering Mechie, but he was so wide open that Mac chose him instead of Mechie. But I think he was actually running the pick route. What else you got, man?
Oh yeah, but the last time that an Alabama running back ran for 200 yards and a half against LSU, he went in because of an injury, and he never came back off the field. If you remember, when Sean Alexander was yards in the second half.
Yep, had 297 yards, I think.
The reason I was bringing that up though was because of the fact that we also got a wide receiver sitting on the bench hurt. Oh, come on now, Martin. Isn't that unbelievable? And an embarrassment of riches. What do you think?
Well, I mean, to me, that's what makes Devontae Smith special. That's why I'm saying this guy is, he played as the backup to most of us when we say he was the third or fourth wide receiver, Yeah, but the reality of it is
the other end. Coach Bryant was the other end.
But here's the thing, Pat. He's better as the number 1 receiver. He has almost 800 yards, just under 800 yards, if I'm not mistaken, since Waddle went out.
No, yeah.
He is better. He is better now than he was before.
Yeah. Look, I'm not doing a good bad. That'd be the only thing what was the SEC, because I disagree. That ball would have been dead. That And I don't know yet the ruling about that. When he dropped that ball at the goal line, and there's so many, that's not the first time I've seen it. If I've seen it one time, I've seen it 50. And, but the fact that that guy went over and picked it up, yeah, that's true. However, there's a time limit too on how long the darn ball was dead. It sat there on the ground for a long, long, long time.
But it's not dead till it's dead.
It's not dead till it's dead, and were there not any whistles blown or anything? Don't know.
I don't know. I mean, I didn't hear any whistles.
You don't know.
I mean, the guy, it wasn't, I don't think it was that long in between. It looked like he ran over and saw it laying there. I never watched the whole play, Pat. But to me, you know, it used to be a rule where you couldn't fumble the ball forward. If you fumbled the ball forward, then you were the one that had to recover it. And undoubtedly that rule changed, and you know, and that allowed him to recover. You used to not be able to fumble the ball forward for like a first down or into the end zone for a touchdown. Because I've never understood now, if that's the rule, why would you ever get stopped on a fourth down? If it's 4th and 1 and they stop you, just fumble the ball forward and then you may get a chance to recover it. Right?
Got you. Hey, y'all have a blessed day, and we'll talk later in the week. Thank you so much.
All right, thanks, Pat. All right, let's go to Robert. Robert from Mobile, you're in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, man?
Hey, man. I was a bit worried about a key injury we're going to suffer in that game against LSU. I mean, that had me really worried.
What was that?
I knew Najee would be okay. I'm talking about the Eli Gold and all the touchdowns he had to keep catching. He's going to get points or something.
Yeah.
He called touchdown Alabama. He let that touchdown break a while. After the 5th touchdown, the first half, is Eli going to make it? That's a lot of touchdowns he got to call.
It was fun to watch.
Absolutely. And of course, Coach O talked him out in the 2 key butt whoopings. You know, this is just the first one. This is a proof that, okay, man, you don't own us. You don't own Nick Saban. The second one next year, his claim was Brad Denny was his house from now on. So now we got to beat you like that again next year, Coach O. To prove to you that Brad Denny's not your house anymore. So you got another one coming, buddy.
Yeah, I heard that it was several people talking about, one of his statements was, it's a new day in the West, and someone said, well, I guess the sun set on that Saturday night. So that day came to a complete end on Saturday night, as they got the worst beatdown in the history of the Alabama LSU series. Think about, we scored as many points in the first half as we had ever scored on LSU in a game.
God, that's just, who didn't see this coming? We all saw this coming. It's just, we had to do this to them. Yeah, the question was 17 too many. For my thirst for revenge that night, yeah, it was too many points.
Yeah, but
55 too little. For my thirst for revenge, yeah, 55 wasn't enough. I wanted more revenge than that. But of course, Saban still being the class act that he is. He's not going to say he doesn't roll that way.
Yeah.
You know, you talk about Devontae Smith and his records. They, like I keep saying before, if all the guy was known for at Tuscaloosa was 2nd and 26, that would be a great legacy. But he has gone so far, Martin, to where 2nd and 26 is starting to fade away.
Right.
Because what we're seeing now. And that's how much, you realize how great you got to be for something that great to start being the lesser thing that you're accomplishing in Tuscaloosa.
Yeah.
That speaks volume for the guy.
Yeah, Robert, if Alabama goes on to win a national title, that will be like one of his accolades, but it may not, as you said, be the top one. It's just like this guy, he has, if Alabama wins out, he has 4 more games to break the single season record. He is extending his SEC record every week. He it's I mean, every week there are accolades that you like, okay, what else can we say about this guy? In 2 games against LSU, he has 15 catches, 444 yards, okay, and 5 touchdowns. And you may be like, well, LSU's not good. Well, he had 200 plus last year on the national championship version of LSU. So it's not just because LSU is down. This guy is just, I mean, he's tough. That lick he took over the middle, he finishes every run. He runs every route. He has the best hands I've seen on any receiver in Alabama history. And he just is big game. I mean, he's just a big game player. Anytime you need him, he is there.
Absolutely. And like I said, regardless of the hit, when he shows his highlights, I'm looking at all the times he's hit the ground hard from selling himself out for a ball.
Yes.
Because things that an ordinary human wouldn't get up from. He's almost approaching superhuman level now.
Yeah.
The last catch against LSU, oh my God, I'm wondering. Somebody need to go get a DNA test and stuff. I'm not sure I'm looking at a human being right now. That's how but to this level he's going up. I mean, you know what? I'm wondering who I'm more impressed with this year. Devontae, Najee, of course, who's in total beast mode right now.
Right.
Mac, or Will Riker. You're real with about a big 3. We have a big 4.
Right.
Will Riker. I look at his stats. He got gets it 69 consecutive kicks he's made. If just at 59 extra points, we would have been happy if someone was 8 made on consistently extra points a couple of years ago.
Right. Hey, Robert, I said Saturday, I said, you know what's funny? I said a year ago, and for the previous 3 or 4 years, I was as nervous about us kicking an extra point more so than I am even us kicking field goals now. I mean, the anxiety we used to have after a touchdown and an extra point is greater than what I have when Will Riker runs out to kick a field goal. He is perfect on the year. That's why I said, was Saturday the most complete offensive performance that has ever been put together? You had a kicker who was perfect. You had a 300-yard passer. You had a 200-yard receiver and a 100-yard rusher. And all 3 of the people with the 300, 200, 100 all had 3 or more touchdowns. I mean, I don't know how you get – when you say balanced, you just saw what's called balance. And that's why I think this team sets itself apart. And if they go on to win, if the defense continues to perform, this may be his best team ever. But it's also one of the times that he got this is what I wonder, Robert. Would Alabama look like this every year if decisions were made like this every year? Meaning 2 or 3 of the guys who could come back that don't go in the NFL would come back. Would Alabama look like this year in and year out? If they were playing with the same level of players, you know, most of the teams that won, except for the likes of Clemson, Ohio State, and Alabama, they all have, you know, 4th year, 5th year seniors. Well, that's what we have for the first time in a long time. And that's what he had when he went undefeated with Shula's team. He had a bunch of older guys, and that's what it looks like when you have guys that could be playing at the next level playing against college players. And we just have to finish now. It has to finish.
Right. And of course, the defense is full of a bunch of true freshmen playing right now, so we could have even better defense next year than we do this year. Someone brought up a good question on the internet. You know, one of the few good questions you see on the internet. There's not much to it. But they brought up, who would you rather have right now playing quarterback? Would you rather have a Mac Jones, who's playing what he's playing right now, or Tua back then, last year? Is Mac Jones right now better than Tua?
I don't think.
Yes. Oh, let me answer. Yes, for this reason alone. Mac Jones is giving us everything Tua could do in the passing round. Maybe because the deep ball isn't as perfect as Tua, but here's the thing that separates Mac Jones. As he's playing the whole season. That's the only difference that's separating the two, and that's huge. That's humongous. That I need a guy playing the whole season.
Well, I would even say if Tua played the whole season, I would take Mac Jones because we haven't been this balanced in terms of the production from the running game. I think the running game is better with Mac Jones. Now, I don't think Mac Jones is as talented as Tua, because that's two different questions. Is Mac Jones as talented as Tua? I would say probably not. But is Mac Jones perfect for what Sark wants to do and the way he wants to run this team and all of the weapons? I would say yes. But who knows if Tua was back with a fourth year Sark, Devontae and whatever, Najee, maybe he'd be the same thing behind his offensive line if he stayed healthy. But I'm telling you, I would take Mac Jones. I believe in Mac Jones last year before he started doing this, and I still believe in him now. And he's showing why he came here after seeing that Jalen had won Offensive Player of the Year and Tua had committed here. Mac Jones decommitted from Kentucky and chose to come play here, and he paid the price. He showed due diligence, and now he's been rewarded, but he's also rewarding us Alabama folks. Thanks, Robert. We'll get with you. Call back anytime, man.
Okay, man.
All right. Hey, stay tuned. Stay with us through the break. Lake Martin John will get you on the other side. The phone lines are open, 205-342-9904. You can get in on the conversation as well. Got some other great conversation we want to get to. Couple comments. Virgil Williams talking about the TD. I'll explain why that, even though the whistle blew, why they would have still called that a recovery, even though the whistle blew. There's an immediate, obvious recovery that follows. I think is why they gave them the touchdown. We'll talk about that as well as anything else you want to bring to the conversation right here on the Martin Houston Show.
Martin, you got Lake Martin John on the line. Looks like. Let me look at my clock. We're going to come back about 40.
Mm-hmm.
So you're looking about 10, 12-ish minutes left.
Okay. All right. What I'll do is I'll probably get in and out if I can with Lake Martin. What I'll probably do is get in and out with Lake Martin John and then come back, go to a quick break.
All right. Sounds good.
leadership and personal development. Is your organization, your school, your church, your family, are they receiving the proper level of leadership development and personal development? If not, the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring can help you with that. We have our pep talks, which is a 1 to 1.5 hour lunch and learn, which we can customize to meet your needs, or we have some topics that we present that we know can help your organization. And if you're looking for one-on-one mentoring and coaching, we can also assist you with that. Visit peptalks35.com. That's peptalks35.com, or send an email to martin@martinhouston.org. That's the Empowerment Center for Leadership and Mentoring.
Welcome back to the Martin Houston Show, the sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team, on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
You're back in with the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9. Joe, let me ask you a question. I know the immediate and obvious recovery is part of the NFL. Is that also a rule in the college game?
As far as I knew, it was.
Yeah, that's okay. I just want.
I could be wrong.
I think it is, and so that's why I was going to address Virgil Williams said. But when we just the LSU touchdown that we were talking about, LSU, when they called the TD, the play was dead. So anything after that should have been nullified. It should have been reviewed and ruled a touchback. The play was reviewed actually from everything that's coming out now. They actually reviewed the play, but they saw him immediately recover the other LSU player recover it, and that's why they just went on with the play, because it was so weird. I saw the official run in like they were going to review it, and then all of a sudden, the next thing you know, the play was going on when they went back to the field. But they did review it from everything I'm understanding, and because it was an immediate and clear recovery by LSU, that's why. And even though you blow the whistle, the play is dead. But if there's an immediate recovery after that, the play can still be ruled a fumble unless there was not an obvious. So I think that's what happened on that play. And then we had one other question that Robert threw up right at the end. Virgil Williams commenting, I'm not sure Mac isn't as talented. He does everything right. Decision-making is off the chart, hitting his receivers in stride as well as throwing them open at times, extending plays by moving in the pocket, and everything right. And when needed, he runs. I agree. Let me say this. I think Mac Jones is playing better than Tua. But talent, to me, talent and performance can be two different things. Would you agree with that, Joe? Like,
yes, sir.
Yeah. So from a pure talent standpoint, arm strength, how fast he reads, making every single throw. That doesn't mean that Mac can't make every throw, but I think Tua can make them a little bit better. Now, as far as performance and playing, Mac Jones is playing as good or better than any quarterback that's played in the Saban era, including A.J. McCarron. So I think we're saying the same thing as far as Virgil and I, but we'll get to that. Lake Martin John, thanks for your patience. You're in with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, man?
Good morning, gentlemen. How are you?
We're doing great.
Hey, listen, this discussion with Mac and Tua, I'm just grateful both of them were Crimson Tigers. You know what I mean? They're two of the best. And I don't see, I think the situation that they're in will dictate which one is better at that moment. After Friday's show, Mr. C.J. Watson and I got into a Facebook discussion about how great Devontae Smith is and comparing him to other receivers. And, it depends on the situation, but I think Devontae's as good as we've ever had here. I agree with C.J. there.
He will statistically leave as the best ever.
Yeah, I do. I agree. My question is, the Heisman seems to go with kind of like the NFL draft, or the draft goes with the Heisman. I think Devontae should win it, but there's going to be at least one quarterback, maybe like Trevor or whatever. But do you think there's coming a day when a receiver like Devontae is going to be more valuable than a quarterback in the draft?
I guess it's really based on needs and who's where. Say for instance, if Joe Burrows had not gotten hurt, but Cincinnati was really bad this year, or well, even with Joe being hurt, would Cincinnati look at a Devontae Smith more highly than they would Trevor Lawrence? Absolutely. So what would happen in that scenario is, say Cincinnati had the worst record, and the Jets may be in this situation. If the Jets end up with the worst, will the Jets trade their quarterback, or will they trade and get more picks to help their quarterback? And then, of course, the quarterback ends up being someone who trades up into that spot. That makes sense. So that's why the quarterbacks are more of a premium, because it's so hard to hit on those guys. When you see those guys coming out like Burrows and Tua and Murray, then people trade up to get them if they're not already in that slot. So it makes it really hard for anything other than quarterbacks to get those top spots. Even when there may be a player that's better, the teams that need that can usually leverage being the first pick by getting more picks for somebody that needs a quarterback.
Yeah, I was thinking about this Heisman thing. It seems to me that over the past few years, 10 or more, the quarterbacks have really become the premium, and maybe that's why they're in the Heisman. One other thing before I let you go, I saw something, and I've heard rumblings among Alabama fans about, and I saw it on your app story there this morning about should Alabama and Florida play their last games. This is kind of scaring me a little. I know teams are thinking, hey, I could opt out and guarantee myself a playoff spot, or if I just opted out of this game, we know that we're going to be ranked higher. Or Michigan outside of the Ohio State game, they could keep Ohio State out of the playoffs. To me, that is something called playing scared. And fans in the past have asked, well, why Tua shouldn't have even been on the field. I disagree. You don't play scared. Devontae Smith, why is he back there returning punts? We shouldn't have him. We shouldn't risk him. To me, that's playing scared. And when you play scared, bad things happen. That's
you actually get
never played at your level. Explain that.
You actually are more likely to get hurt playing scared than you are playing, period. Nick Saban says he doesn't coach scared, he doesn't play scared, and I think the team should play. Now, could Alabama rest some players? To me, yes, they could rest some players, but there's no doubt playing the game. Resting players because of the craziness of this season would not be out of the question. Playing them, just like you did at the beginning of the season, not having an off week before the championship game kind of adds something to it as well, like Martin Johnson. So I would not be surprised if they don't come out and play the first half only, or based on how the game goes, of course, or, something like that, and then get these other guys some reps. I would not be surprised by that. The other thing is, if you don't play the game, to me, then if you choose to not play the game outright, you should be punished in the college football playoffs. Because to me, that's a loss. If you don't play the game, Joe, is that not a forfeit?
It should be.
Yes, and so that's the thing. So all right, thanks, Mark John. I have to get the break here, but yeah, that's great question, great conversation, and we'll talk about that maybe a little bit more later on in the week because of the Arkansas game, and people are talking about Alabama possibly not playing. Stay tuned, Tom. We'll get you on the other side. You listen to the Martin Houston Show on Tide 100.9.
Tide 100.9 traffic.
From the towns of Nissan Traffic Center, we got a wreck on Lurleen southbound, just south of McFarland with some delays. Everything else looks pretty good. If you do see conditions, of course, give us a call, 205-886-8886. The holiday sales event is in full swing now at Townsend Nissan. Rebates, extra incentives, and of course, top dollar for your trade. I'm Captain Ray.
Here's what's trending on the Tuscaloosa thread.
Good morning. The overall National Weather Service forecast for the winter months in West Alabama calling for warmer temperatures, but for the next couple of nights, temperatures will be in the high 20s. Fire officials are warning residents to make sure that you do not improperly use a space heater and check on the elderly, cover plants, and make sure your pets are warm. Governor update and state health order expires next week unless she extends them again. That's exactly what health officials are advising her to do. Don Hartley, Town Square Media, Tuscaloosa.
Hello, this is Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show, and I want to tell you about Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. If you're looking for a way to add value to your home, make your flower beds pop, make your landscaping stand out from your neighbors, then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help you do just that. They have numerous styles, but they feature the Moroccan Stone Curb series, which includes 4 great styles and unlimited color choices. That's Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing. They are the one that can help you stand out from your neighbors. Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, 205-331-6823. You may also find yourself with the need for a custom size stone or custom shaped stone. Then Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing can help with that as well. Paul Fuller and his team are waiting on your call right now for that free quote. And if you tell them that Martin Houston with the Martin Houston Show told you to stop by, you'll get a big discount. So call Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing at 205-331-6823 or visit them online at Tuscaloosa Custom Curbing, LLC.
Tradition is built by doing the right things over and over again. In Alabama, this means 27 SEC championships and 17 national titles. Well, at Dex Imaging, this means taking great care of our customers day in and day out. Dex Imaging has a tradition of providing quality office equipment at a fair price with quick, reliable service. Put Dex Imaging's tradition of satisfied customers to work for your business. Dex Imaging, the official copier and printer provider of the Crimson Tide.
There shouldn't be haves and have-nots for things you have to know. That's how the Tuscaloosa thread feels about the news. Join the more than 80,000 who log to get their news from the source, TuscaloosaThread.com. The Tuscaloosa thread is the new free local news source with the largest team of multimedia journalists anywhere covering Tuscaloosa and West Alabama. Veteran news reporters including managing editor Stephen Dethridge, Don Hartley, and many more. The Tuscaloosa thread has 24/7 coverage of breaking news, live local traffic, weather, and sports, including the University of Alabama and West Alabama High School football. Since they went online in August, they've been breaking stories across the board, including the death of iconic writer Winston Groom, author of Forrest Gump, and University of Alabama graduate. The Tuscaloosa thread. No paywall, just news. Go to TuscaloosaThread.com for more local content than any other site. While others are downsizing, we're reporting. The Tuscaloosa thread. Online at TuscaloosaThread.com and look for free apps for Apple and Android. The Tuscaloosa thread. No paywall, just news.
Risky behavior with alcohol can lead to future health problems without warning. High blood pressure, stroke, and cancer. Substance misuse is dangerous. Knowing the risk is vital.
The sound of Bama sports. Your show, your team. The Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app.
Marty, you got 4 minutes left. You're on 3, 2, 1.
Wow! Mommy's kissing Santa Claus!
Welcome back into the Martin Houston Show. Let's get quickly to Tom. Tom, you're with the Martin Houston Show. What's on your mind, man? Tom, you still there?
Yeah, I'm here.
Go ahead.
Hear me?
Yes, sir.
Good morning.
Good morning.
Martin, let me ask you this. From where you're sitting, I think you would have insight into this observation. We've heard from Coach Saban for the last 2 or 3 years increased value for the individual, and we got 2 great examples, I think, on this year's team. How much money did Najee and Devontae make by coming back?
It's yet to be determined, but I would say both of them have raised themselves to Najee was clearly going to be probably a second rounder just based on the fact that you only had one running back go last year. I think he will clearly be the first running back off the board, barring something that we don't see. You don't always know how that's going to turn out, whether there's going to be a running back or not in the first round, but I think he is the most valuable running back coming out. So that's money to him. Also, Devontae Smith has probably put himself clearly in the top 10 at this point, if everything goes. And I don't see someone coming off the board before him, but he'll be 1, 2, or 3, where last year he'd have been 4th at best, maybe 5th or 6th.
I agree. I think would it be fair to say that you think it's with the pay scale and everything like it is in the league, it'd be millions for both?
It's going to be multiplied millions because Devontae will get just the signing bonus of being a top 10 pick versus a late rounder is probably 5 to 10 million. So he clearly, and then you multiply that over his life of his contract.
Yeah, and but anyway, I want to throw that out there. I thought about that, how fortunate we were that both of them came back. I think everybody's in agreement with that, and also what it meant monetarily and fitting the scheme of producing value for yourself, and what a selling point that will be going forward for the team.
Well, I would say that don't forget Leatherwood too. I think Leatherwood has probably made some more money as well. We sometimes forget those offensive linemen, but our offensive line is playing as good as any offensive line in the country. So he's going to make some money as well.
Thanks, Martin.
Thanks, Tom. Appreciate it. All right. Just, hey, couple quick things that we want to get to on tomorrow. We'll have more good, bad, and ugly. Really didn't get into that. We'll talk about the key players of the game. We'll talk with DC Capstone Report. And also, we'll talk a little bit more about Sark and is Sark making Mac Jones better because Mac Jones makes Sark better? That's conversation we can have as well. Coach O's explosion, meltdown, whatever you want to call it, we'll bring that into the conversation. How good can Will Anderson be? There's so much to talk about coming out of this LSU game that bodes well for the Crimson Tide moving forward. But regardless, revenge, redemption, whatever, Alabama took care of business on Saturday, 55-17 over the LSU Tigers. Devontae Smith, Mac Jones, Najee Harris, and company all doing well. And remember, I told you, Jaleel Billingsley is going to become a breakout player and key component. We'll talk about all of that and more as we join DC on tomorrow. Remember this, trust in the Lord always, lean not your own understanding, and all your ways acknowledge him, and he will direct your paths. Roll Tide.
Thank you for listening to the Martin Houston Show on your home for Alabama sports. Tide 100.9 and streaming on the Tide 100.9 app. Tide 100.9 traffic.
Hey, thanks, guys. Appreciate the conversation. As always, you guys rock. Appreciate you being a part of it. And there's so much to talk about after that game. We didn't get to most of it, but we'll be here all week, and I appreciate you all being a part of it. We'll catch you on the flip side tomorrow.